Welcome to the Pirate Broadcast, where we interview interesting people doing interesting things, where you can expand your connections, your community. Kindness is cool and smiles are free. And let's get this party started. Welcome to the Pirate Broadcast, everyone. And we are here talking about physical therapy, group therapy, therapeutic practice, and also a lot of awesome things that are taking place in the world today. Teresa, welcome to the party.
Thank you. Today? I'm doing great, and thanks for having me.
It's a pleasure. It's a pleasure. I want to step in, and for people that are not familiar with who you are and what you do, kind of give us a snapshot so we can kind of get started with this conversation about your backstory and your experience in physical therapy.
Okay. Yes. Thank you again for having me today.
You bet.
Yeah. And I have been a physical therapist for 35 years. And I'm also a very creative soul. And, parts of therapy just kind of got boring to me. But when I got in touch with multidisciplinary group therapy, I came alive, in my therapy. And I just saw how it was working to bring people together and do these therapeutic activities. And they were just making, leaps and bounds with their, therapy and their gains and their outcomes. And I just really had a good time with it. And, also I could develop these therapies like we had a painting party, and
nice.
we challenged balance, and we worked with transitions because everybody goes through transitions when they become ill, so helped them with their mental and their physical state. And so now, fast forward 15 years when I first started this. Now I'm teaching therapists about it. And I've also brought it into the business community about how basically a lot of it is just, finding yourself, knowing who you are, and building the best person you can be. And I also kind of, with my creative side, I go into that creative genius of, finding your creative genius and expressing that to the world. So
that's fantastic. People don't necessarily think about physical therapy and creativity in the same arena. So when you discovered this group therapy process, and you actually wrote a book about this process, is that true? I mean, tell us a little bit about the book that you wrote. What's the subject of that?
Sure. It's called The Art of Assisting Aging Parents.
Okay.
Yeah. And I decided to take my group therapy into that world of seniors and caregivers so that they can, because they're under so much stress, and a lot of caregivers don't know what to do and how to help their aging parents. So that's the first arena that I brought that to. But it does have my group therapy method. There's like a 4-step method that if you follow it, you're doing everything you can do for your parents to help them age well. And also you can take care of yourself as a caregiver.
Wow. I knew there was something else to your story that triggered me. And as a caregiver, someone that has been caring for his parents for the last, 3-4 years. Dad passed away last year. I'm still caring for mom. She's on oxygen, COPD, and every day's a gift. And I just I can relate to that statement of self-care versus caring for others. And I think that also goes back to your creativity in the group therapy piece of the puzzle, because, caregivers, this is just my experience. I don't know how everybody else feels, but I mean, I feel blessed that I get to spend time with my parents, and it's still somewhat challenging at times because of just schedule and life and things that take place and things that we have to do, and doctor's appointments and lunches and feeding and household chores, and life gets busy regardless of where you are or who you are. And so it's important for us to understand that that's kind of a therapy in itself, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. Yes, yes, and it's best to make it into a therapy, because you can have the attitude of, oh, this is stressing me out. I don't know
Mhm.
what to do, and you can really internalize all that. And I came across a statistic fairly recently that said caregivers are dying 60% faster than those they care for. So it really, yeah, that's not good news, is it?
Well,
Yeah,
I hope I'm
and
not a statistic.
yeah, right. Yeah, well, ears open now, no, but yeah, we need to take care of ourselves. And you really do need to put yourself first in this situation and take time every day and every week to take care of yourself. And I kind of show you how to do that in the book. And you can actually kind of get together with your parents and set goals and set, activities to do so they can continue to succeed, and you have to succeed also.
Yeah. Well, and success can be different things to different people, right?
Right, right. But many of the sandwich generation, they're taking care of their children and parents.
Mm.
They may have goals to go back to school or to do a career change, and that's something that in your midlife you need to pay attention to. So if you get too wrapped up in the caregiving, or if it becomes too burdensome, you won't be taking care of yourself, and
Yeah.
then it's your future too.
Yeah. I think it goes back to balance, don't you believe?
Yes, definitely, definitely balance. Yes.
Yeah.
And
It's funny because Sheila in here says, hello, Sheila Chamberlain. Yes. Hi, how are you? Hope you're well. Con, Con is an awesome individual. He's a pirate as well. Good morning, Russ and Teresa. And he goes on to say, more and more of us are in the role of caregiver. It's a role we embrace with love, but most of us are so unprepared for it. Con, I couldn't agree with you more. And the question that always comes up in my mind is, am I doing enough? My mother, because I have a business, and fortunately I'm able to work from home. I live with my mother here in Arizona. I moved to Arizona to be with my parents. And, they got to a point where driving wasn't really a safe thing to do
mhm,
anymore. And the reality is that it was something that they needed help with. And my son actually said, hey, Dad, you should consider moving to Arizona and being, helping your folks out. You'll never regret it. And I thought that was very insightful of him. And also, it opened the door to say, okay, I'm
mhm,
leaving Texas. And so I'm here now. And going back to physical therapy and therapy in general, it's really a process. It's a journey, and
mhm,
I've had plenty of therapy, physical
mhm,
therapy.
mhm.
I've learned how to use my right hand and my left hand differently. I've had learned how to use my muscles differently after breaking my hip. I've, fallen, I've had skull fractures. I mean, lots of different. I've lived a full
Wow.
life. Let's just say that.
Okay. Yeah.
And the reality is that all of these things are so important for us to understand. And thank you for doing the work that you do. And I really appreciate not only that, but I want to go back, and I could ramble on this for a while, but I want to go back to what was it in your life that prompted you to become a physical therapist in the first place? What was that seed that was planted early on that opened that door for you?
Yeah, I think the first thing I would say would be I wanted to help people, from a very early age. I was very in tune with actually just the interest in people and helping people. And so I paired that with my love for science. And I
Mm,
really liked, the biology, physiology, anatomy, loved the science. And I paired that with helping people. And then I came up with physical therapy. Um, yeah. And I think too, occupational therapy would have also been a good, it might have fit in with more of my creativity, but I just, for some reason, had to be a physical therapist, and that's okay. And I have gained, I can't imagine my life without it. Even
Mhm.
though now I've taken up some painting, and I'm trying to express myself also creatively, as I teach this to people. But I can't imagine my life without the physical therapy.
Mhm.
It was a good it was a good choice, but it wasn't a choice like forever.
Right.
I want to teach people now about some different modes of like personal development. Yeah.
Well, and fast forward, I think you cannot avoid learning about people and process and things without, as you're in physical therapy, you learn all of these things. And at some
Mhm.
point in time, just like, most people that like to give back to the community, you get to a point where you have so much information, you want to share it out. You know,
Mhm.
there's this thing I don't know if that's just my experience, but a lot of people on the pirate broadcast have shared the same feeling. I'm at a point where I want to give back to the community, which is it's a
Mhm.
treasure, it's a gift, it's
Yeah.
so valuable, and I encourage people to do that. And it's so you physical therapy, you got to a point where you decided that group therapy was this awesome process that you could go through and help a lot more people. And we were talking before the show about some of the activities and how you can accelerate the recovery and the health of the individuals as they're in a group as well. Talk a little bit about that.
Okay, yeah. I found that when you put people into a group and you give them an activity, you know, um, you just and even Maxine Green says this. She's an educator, and
Okay.
she says the best teacher sets up an experience for people and then steps back. You have to step away, and even as a therapist, sometimes you have to let go of the outcomes, and that's hard. We want to
Yeah.
control things, but you step back, and that's where the learning comes in. And they interact with each other. Like, I give some therapist examples. Like, I could roll a ball to somebody and have them kick it to me,
Uh-huh.
or I could put up people in a group and chairs in a group and put a ball in the middle of the circle and have them kick it to each other. And you wouldn't believe how people get involved, and or give them a ball to throw to each other. That they're involved, they're smiling, they're happy, they're talking, they're motor planning, they're doing, faster reaction times. Just the group just brings people alive in my sense. A group isn't for everybody, and if somebody, so some people have like social phobias or whatever, and
Sure.
you can take them out of the group, but generally groups are extremely good. And there's studies that for the face-to-face contact that people have during the groups,
Uh-huh.
helps them with, decrease like inflammation. It helps them emit hormones that their body needs, even to be more empathetic and just more generous and more, so. And I could go on and on about the benefits of group, but it's huge. It's
Yeah.
huge. Yeah.
That's
And
fantastic.
yeah, I was going to say too, during this time of social isolation, we all have to be really cognizant of, trying to get back into our groups when we can,
Hmm.
just instead of being on Zoom all the time, try to get back in those groups and have that face-to-face interaction. I think people are just hungry for that right now. I don't know if you're seeing that, but I am.
Well, I'm a hugger, so for
Mm,
me, it's one of those things that I miss. I miss the interaction. I miss the activity. I miss the ability to talk to people and sit down with them and have a deep conversation in life about anything.
mm,
You know, I'm
mm,
uh, I'm curious. I always like to kind of figure out how people got to where they were. So it's really
mm,
important. So
mhm.
Jill Sullivan, sending love. She's an awesome individual. If you're not connected with Jill, go connect with her. She's a rock star. And she says, hi, Teresa. So,
Mhm.
and
Hi.
she says,
Hey.
you're a rock star, Russ, an angel on earth. Thank you,
Mm,
Jill. I love you. Thank you so much. Howard Kaufman is saying, really great point on the positive impact of a group. Certainly that hit home with many people during these pandemic times. Absolutely, positively. I know a lot of people, isolation is not their friend. I
mm,
mean,
mm. Right.
I've been working on my own independent, a remote worker for over a decade. And so for myself, it wasn't as much of a transition. Russ Hedge says, good morning. Khan says, for the most part, we are social creatures with the basic need to connect. It is key to a long, healthy life. I believe you. Russ Hedge says, I'm with you both. Miss hugs and real people.
Yeah.
Jill says, I love this topic this morning. Jill, you've had physical therapy. You know what it's like. And being in a group session, I think that would be motivational. I think it would encourage some activity because you're seeing other people doing activity and you're saying, oh, if they're doing that, I can do that too. And that kind of builds on itself.
Yes. I've even had patients that don't really want to be in physical therapy. During group, they're helping other patients, which is beautiful, and they were able to get done what we wanted them to do. And they were able to help other patients achieve what they needed to achieve. So it's kind of a win-win situation for everybody. Yeah. You have to be super flexible and creative. If you are a therapist that likes to just run things, like kind of by the minute and by 15 minutes, we're going to do this. It might be more difficult for you to do this. Yeah. Because you really have to go with the flow, and talk about being creative, that's where you're able to create all these exceptional experiences because you just pick up on them. Okay, what can we do next? How can we bring this group to a higher level with this exercise and as a therapist? So, but that's what I love to do. Yeah.
So are you training other therapists on this practice in helping their physical therapy practice build on the group therapy concept?
Yes, I am. Yes, okay. I am. I actually have a 6-hour course that I present, and I've also put a 3-hour course on. It's a education site. It's Allied Health Education. It has my 3-hour course. I have a 6-hour course I teach live. And we just delve really deep, and I think it's just such an exciting therapy because the health benefits are just huge, and what we talk a lot about neuroplasticity, the brain is always able to change, up until the day you die, and so we're very, very proactive on making those changes, because every behavior you make is either positive or negative for your brain. So we teach people how to make, good choices, even with their body, with, their posture, and, just building those neural networks, new neural networks, or, like strengthening the existing neural networks so that they can function well, into the future.
That's, it's increasingly more necessary as, like the baby boomers are aging. Dad had dementia. He couldn't remember a lot of what he was doing. Long-term memory, he was fine. Short-term memory wasn't so great, and he took it well. I was really curious to see how he approached being frustrated versus just saying, don't ask me. I can't remember. Remember when I got up today. But it shows up in different ways, and that goes back to the caregiver piece of the equation. However, in physical therapy, you can practice and work your mind, is what I'm hearing, and continue to work on those neural connections and that activity in your brain. So
yes, and really everybody needs to be doing it, and that's challenging yourself with new activities, say like even learning a new language, or I talked a little bit about my day trading before the show. My day trading,
right?
Yeah, which came up last year, when the market dropped, but I spent almost a year, training my brain to do that, and that was something new for me. So,
Yeah.
anything you can put into your brain that's new is going to challenge it. And your brain loves surprises. Make things, go out and do something, that you haven't done before, or bring in a novel thing into your life,
Yeah.
and enjoy, and when you do make these gains, celebrate the gains, celebrate the wins, no matter how small they are. Your brain again loves that when you celebrate your wins, and that's a very positive behavior. Because all of us, and we talk, you hear it all the time, all these negative thoughts run through your head, and getting those positive thoughts in and building that strong positive neural network also is a good thing to do.
Absolutely. So practical tips, just to recap, the practice of adding something new to your life that you can learn, or a discipline that you can add to your routine, get out of your routine a little bit and think of something new. Recently, on my last birthday, I decided I was going to start my third version of my music career again. And so I started creating a track a day and posting it, good, bad, or indifferent, posting it every single day.
Yeah.
Just so I could learn the process, and learn a new process of the creative, music, and just to enjoy something different. And so it's kind of a journey. It's like day trading in some respects.
Yeah.
Probably not as profitable, but
yeah, some days.
But things like that, that's a great tip. I love that idea and I really you don't think about it until somebody points it out and says, "Oh, that's obvious." But until we see the obvious, we don't always notice it, right?
Right.
So it's like that thing. The last place I found it, the last place I looked. Con says, Teresa, it's the difference between focusing on activity versus focusing on the person. I think he made that comment back when we were talking about the group therapy versus, so it's focusing on the activity versus the person. And Hyatt Ives says, in from Houston, better late than never. Good morning, Pirates. Thanks for being here, Hyatt. Appreciate you. Wendy, in from Minnesota. Hope you're staying safe. Welcome, Teresa. So happy you're on the pirate ship with us. Remarkable pirate edition, Admiral. Thank you so much, Wendy. Appreciate that.
Thank you.
Love you. So I want to wrap this up before we take off, and I want to give some actionable tips and items that can help either physical therapists that might hear this and appreciate the idea and want to learn more. And then also I want to come back and talk a little bit about actionable items for caregivers to take care of themselves and maybe take breaks or find alternatives like that. So first and foremost, your new business, your growing business, your expanding business is teaching others how to do group therapy and how it benefits their practice. So what are some tactical, practical tips that they can learn and add to their business and think about and consider as they go forward? Taking your 3-hour class, 6-hour class, what does that look like? What do they need to do next?
Okay, yes. And we all have to get continuing education. And so this could be part of that. So going into, allied health education has a 3-hour course. And it's called Group Therapy, the why, the what, and the how to create an impactful group therapy treatment. And my course is Group Therapy, and there's a little bit different name to it. But yeah, it's just about, dynamic multi-system approach treatment option. And yeah, so I just teach you, why you want to use group therapy and how it affects the brain and the body. And then I teach you what to do and then how to put it all together. And really, if you think about it, think about a sports team, like a football team. Okay. They couldn't just watch film forever. They couldn't just go to the weight room forever. It's got to be that one-on-one, face-to-face interaction, maybe not even in practice, but when they get into a game, just think about the adrenaline rush when you get into a game,
Yeah.
And when we put people together, we're not really, promoting competition, but believe me, it happens, They get that there's a little bit of a competitive spirit that comes up when we put people into a therapeutic activity or a game situation, and it just raises your spirit. It raises your adrenaline. You get maybe a little bit competitive. You just achieve more. So even sports teams, they had to be like face to face. It's almost like face to face, body to body. You're getting all this sensory stimulation in, and you react to it. And that is what is good for your brain, is that reaction. That's where you building these neural networks that we need to age well and to do well. So that's what I want to promote to therapists right now. It's easy, it's out there. And talk about revenue and productivity. You can see 6 patients at once versus 1, and I mean, it's good for our productivity. As therapists, we're very pushed these days to be productive and efficient, and the revenue, so that's always kind of stressful for therapists, or especially for me being creative. I just wanted to create, and I thought I did a good job, but that doesn't always show up on my productivity at the end of the day,
Right.
But anyway, so it is good for therapists in that it improves your productivity, your revenue, and patient outcomes, which is huge.
Well, and patient outcomes is the real long-term goal, making sure that they're out there in the world and they go through rehabilitation or therapy, and like myself, I can walk again. I can ride my bike again.
Nice.
It's a joy to be out there again. So, and then also, okay, so people need to get a hold of you. They can get a hold of your course through Ally. So what about the caregiver side? I mean, they're kind of parallel. However, what about some practical steps? And this is the selfish for myself. What do I need to think about as a caregiver and taking care of myself and making sure that I have balance in my life and I'm not dismissing my own goals in life or whatever it happens to be, what that looks like and what do I need to consider?
Okay. Yeah. And I would say number one, make time for yourself. You have to step away from the caregiving and you have to just carve out some time for yourself where you're doing, some self-care or whatever you like to do. If you like to play your music or, maybe go out to dinner with a group or something, but, make sure you step away and have time for yourself. And my 4-step process is for, personal development for everybody. But it's, finding your strengths. I give you ways to, find your strengths, work on your weaknesses, and set some goals of your own. But I think it's also kind of fun to set goals with your parents too.
Yeah.
And so I give all those steps in my book. And I also do coaching, if any, coaching for, individuals and businesses also that want to, just be more, But I would say definitely as a caregiver, you need to take the breaks. Yeah. Would be number one. Yeah. And then I also give a lot of tips on, how to help your parents transition, or get through some transitions in life and, how to, if you have siblings, how to, all get along during this process. Everybody has their own opinion when you're caring for mom and dad, and that can be tough. And you don't want it to rip you apart as a family, but sometimes it does, which is really sad. But
yeah,
I'm happy to hear that you're enjoying the caregiving and feel it's valuable. And I did that, and I was able to care for my parents a little bit at the end, and it gave me gifts. I actually received so many gifts back from them, and that I just, I'm so glad I didn't miss out on it.
Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. Deneen says, hi all. Con says, scaling your impact 1 to many. He's talking about the practice of the group therapy. Caregivers are pulled and pushed and neglected because we forget how much we matter too. True story. True story. We do matter. We all matter. We all need to make it matter because that's what's important. So, well, Teresa, thank you so much for being here on the Pirate Broadcast. And as a pirate, you're always welcome back. Come back. And those individuals, they're watching this, listening to this, reach out, connect with Teresa, add some value. We're only one conversation away from getting what we need or what we want, and make sure that you have the community in place to support your needs, your desires, your goals. And also, make sure that you're taking care of yourself. Do some self-care. Follow what we were talking about today. It's not a bad thing. It's not illegal, and it's something that we need to do, and we need to take care of things. So appreciate you, Teresa. Thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you so much. It was such a pleasure to talk with you.
I appreciate that. And if you like, or that this would be valuable to someone else, please share it out. We're on social media, all across the social medias. Like, comment, share, leave a review, all that kind of good stuff that keeps this thing alive and well on the internet. And also know that we do this because kindness is cool. Smiles are free. And we want you to enjoy your day. Thanks, Teresa.
Thank you.
Take care, everyone. Bye. Thank you for joining the Pirate Broadcast. If you found this content valuable, please like, comment, and share it across your social media channels. I would love the opportunity to help others grow in their business. The Pirate Syndicate is a platform where you show up, we produce the show. It's that easy. If you want to be seen, be heard, and be talked about, join the Pirate Syndicate today.